So here we are now with our 6th anniversary match of 10, so for Season 6. We're in WWE 2K18 now. I thought we could have just like a fun 6-woman tag with some of the characters who aren't in 2K19. Characters who I could have brought over, you know. There's really not a big difference between 2K18 and 2K19 in terms of what characters you can make. But these are characters that just for whatever reason I just didn't bring over. A lot of them are characters from request matches, I think, that I made them for a request, and they just kind of stuck around. Sarah Bryant I made, you know, for a request back in one of the older games on the Xbox 360. She's from a Virtua Fighter, I believe. I get some of the fighting game characters mixed up sometimes, just because I haven't played a lot of these games in like a decade, but I'm pretty sure that she was representing Virtua Fighter, which is a game I used to really like when I was a kid. I never played as Sarah Bryant though, but I did play as Jackie Bryant sometimes, her like brother, I think. So yeah, that is the right franchise. And then here's Britney. Britney Spears was a character I made from the very beginning. I think she was in UDW from day one. Just, you know, one of the biggest celebrities of all time when I was a kid, just hugely famous everywhere, and still like a pretty big deal. But I tried to move away from living celebrities. Like there's still a couple in the UDW roster, but I just found them like tedious to have, I guess, for a number of reasons. You know, like living celebrities, their story is still evolving and changing, and the way the public perceives them is changing. And also, sometimes their look is changing. Like, Justin Bieber's look changed dramatically during his time in UDW, and I had to, like, go in and make changes to how he looked from the beginning. He got, like, new tattoos and changed his hair and stuff. Britney also changed a lot. So it's just, like, tedious to have them. And so I tend to not do that as much anymore. And then Lara Croft. Lara was the character who I did want to bring in to 2K19, and I had every intention of keeping her around just because she's such an iconic video game character, especially her like original design is just like very distinct and memorable. But it just kind of didn't work out. Like by the time I thought I was ready to make her, I just ran out of space on my roster. I'd filled up 50 women in the created character, and I just, you know, just never got around to it. I do want to bring Lara back though, and whenever the next game I play is, which will probably be 2K23, hopefully I'll have her on there, and she'll get to return after being gone for a number of years now, because I've been on 2K19 for a while. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to see her again here, though. Even though I think of the characters in this match, she's the most likely to make a return to UDW at some point in the future. But yeah. Just a fun, cool character to have around. Even if this is not like the current design anymore, I still just like having her there. Although I hope we get some better ponytail options, so I can get like this one's fine. There's just not a lot of good ponytail or pigtail options in the games for characters who have those, I feel like. And then yeah, their opponents here are the Teen Angels, another one. I said most of the characters, I guess technically that's true. But like Sarah Bryant are characters from a request. I don't remember what the original request they debuted in was, but I know I made them for that request and then kept them around, and then they were kind of surprisingly popular. I didn't think people would care about the Teen Angels that much, or even like remember them. But I was wrong, they got lots of requests, and so they showed up quite a bit. But I just, you know, having a trio stable is like 3 slots on the roster, and I just didn't think it was worth it to bring them back into 2K19, so I just kind of didn't get to stick around for that, especially since there's not like a lot for trios teams to do. You know, I've got Josie and the Pussycats on the roster now, but they just don't get to do as much as you would kind of maybe want them to. But yeah, and I don't know, it's just it's not like I'm going to have a whole lot of other 3-person teams on the women's roster, you know, for them to feud with. But they were like good opponents for Josie and the Pussycats. I think I had a handful of matches between them, because, you know, if you don't know the Teen Angels, they're from Captain Caveman, which is one of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons from back when they were doing a whole lot of like, I guess you call them Scooby-Doo clones, like shows where you have like a mascot character and a group of teenagers who solve mysteries or in a band or do both, or in a band and solve mysteries. I guess the spectrum between band and mystery solvers would be like from Scooby-Doo to Josie and the Pussycats, and the Teen Angels kind of fall between those two, I think. They weren't a band, but they were like three women, so there was no like Fred or Shaggy characters, just three women and a hairy caveman guy who spouted catchphrases and had a silly voice. And I really like that era of Hanna-Barbera. Like, I have a really strong fondness for the like teen mystery genre that Hanna-Barbera did for a while. I don't know what it is. There's just something about like all of these shows that are like kind of similar and kind of become their own genre of cartoon just within this one company that I just like. I just find them really endearing. Obviously, I can't have a whole bunch of characters from all these shows. There's like too many, and most people don't remember the majority of them, I think. Or if they do, they remember like the mascot. They'll remember Jabberjaw or Speed Buggy, but maybe not the humans that hung out with them. Maybe they don't remember Shelley LaMarine or anyone like that. But I like those characters a lot. So when I had them for this request, and I think the request was just them versus Josie and the Pussycats. I want to say, but they aren't hard to make. You know, they just kind of wear normal clothes, just have like regular outfits, and just look like people. So there's not like a lot of difficulty to making them, like with some of the more heavily designed characters, like fighting game or anime characters, or just video game characters in general. So they were easy to make and keep around, but they do take up 3 spots, and I can only have them fight Josie and the Pussycats so many times, and the rest of the time they're like a bunch of singles wrestlers. But since they're just regular people, they fall into like sort of the jobber class, just like Daphne and Velma do. So it just kind of felt like they were taking up more space than was necessary. I wouldn't mind bringing them back at some point, but I probably won't, unless I could think of like a good reason to. But I am happy to see them again here, along with these other 3 ladies across the ring from them. Just because, yeah, I was surprised how long they stuck on the roster. I think when I made them on for that request, I was expecting them to just kind of evaporate and I would replace them with somebody pretty soon, but I not only kept them around, but I kept making them on new games. Like, that's why they're here, because it was an older game when I first made them. I don't know how many of you saw the more recent Scoob movie, the animated movie they did, where they like brought in like Blue Falcon and a few other Hanna-Barbera characters. Captain Caveman is in that. He's not in UDW, but he's in that. But Dee Dee is also in that. The leader of this group got to be kind of like she's like a SHIELD agent or something, but she basically is like the manager for the Blue Falcon or something like that. So she got to be in it and do stuff. We didn't see Taffy or Brenda, unfortunately, but one of them made it into that, so they're not completely forgotten. At least one of them is in a fairly recent big project that I think got to play in theaters. It's hard to remember which movies got theatrical releases around the like COVID times. It might have actually. Now that I think about it, I don't think it actually made it to theaters. I think it was just like a straight to streaming thing because of COVID stuff. But out here on the rampway here, we don't get to see the women wrestle in this arena very often because this is the arena for the men's show, UDW showcase, I think is what I call it on the wiki. So I don't remember if I was thinking about that when I set this up, but it is kind of novel in a way to get to see the female competitors here in this arena, since normally they compete in Radiance, which has a different color scheme, but the white and green one here works well for everyone. I like the default UDW arena, even if it's not like the most exciting arena. It's just kind of, I think it's like a nice distinct look. Like it's got its own little flavor to it. It doesn't feel too much like Raw or AEW or anything like that. But we got Sarah Bryant in here now. Yeah, the Sarah Bryant, I think I made her with Nina from Tekken. I think it was a request to have like the two like blonde ponytail kicking ladies from those two fighting games fight each other. I think that was the request, and I kept both of them around for a while and also remade them. Um, Sarah might show up again in UDW at some point. I wouldn't rule it out, but she's not like high on my list. I think Nina's probably more likely to show up again, just because I think Tekken has a little bit more of a profile than Virtua Fighter these days. Well, we almost got a pin there, I think, but Dee Dee broke it up. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't really think about those characters too much when I think about those franchises. So like when I think of Tekken, the characters I want to bring in are like, well, there's wrestling characters in there. Like I'd like to make King if there's ever like a good Jaguar head item in the game. I'd probably make King. And there's also like another like kickboxer type who I think he's based on Conan from WCW. He looks a lot like Conan. I can't remember his name right now though, but I remember playing as him when I played Tekken. He wasn't my main, but I played as him quite a bit. He's like a big, bald guy. He's got like kind of like a what would you call it? Like an MMA type outfit, I think. And he tag teams with King sometimes. So like bringing either of them in, or Paul, because Paul's hair. Paul, if you don't know, Paul is a character who has like hair that's just like a straight up flat top that sticks straight up like 2 feet over his head. It's a very silly looking hair. But him and Guile are both characters that I wanted to put into UDW just because their very distinctive hairstyles were in the games. And Guile I did make, but I never got around to making Paul. Probably because I think besides the hair, I don't know how much, like how recognizable or well known he is as a character. But yeah, when I think of characters I'd want in UDW, I tend to think of them before thinking of Nina. I'm trying to think, what are the female characters in Tekken that I would want to move over first, or would want to have in UDW, but I don't know. In Virtua Fighter, what's her name? Vanessa Lewis? Is that her name? I don't know. There's a character, I think she's a cop. There's a character I always thought was cool in Virtua Fighter who I played in like Virtua Fighter 4. She was, I think, my main when I played that. So I think Sarah's kind of more like the mascot character, but I don't always care about that. I can't remember if there's a wrestler character. I think there's like a Native American guy who's got a wrestling gimmick in Virtua Fighter. I don't remember for sure. It's been so long since I've played any of those old fighting games. I played them a lot when I was a kid, but just I don't anymore. But I think. Yeah, I think Vanessa, if I'm remembering her name right, she's somebody that I would make just because I like her. I don't always, when I do like fighting game characters, I don't always go with like the mascot character or whatever, or like the main one. Like with Mortal Kombat, I just had Melina for a long time, and that was probably just because she had like the cool mask and stuff, and I just thought she had like a good look. But it was a long time before I had like Scorpion and Sub-Zero in UDW, and I still haven't had a lot of the other characters that you would probably consider like the mascots, like Liu Kang or Sonya Blade, or why can't I remember the actor's name? I want to call him Johnny Ace, but obviously that's not his name. But that's the name that's stuck in my head. But it's not John Laurinaitis in Mortal Kombat. But yeah, having Sonya Blade there just to fight Ronda Rousey, I think would be neat. Although I think I have gotten to do Cassie versus Ronda. Luke Cage, I think that's her dad's name. Yeah, the actor. Yeah, and there's probably some others. There's a lot of really iconic Mortal Kombat characters, but obviously I can't do too many of them in the roster. They just take over. But yeah, or in Dead or Alive, I think the only Dead or Alive character I brought over is one of the two wrestling characters, and that's Tina Armstrong. But I think the mascot of that franchise is Kasumi. I think would be the go-to, and I just haven't made Kasumi. Although I do like Kasumi. Although I think if I wanted a character like that, like a fighting game ninja, I'd go with Mai Shiranui from King of Fighters first. I think she's maybe a little bit more like iconic, I guess. That feels like the wrong word for what I'm trying to say, but I probably would go with Mai before Kasumi. Although I do like Kasumi. Yeah, there are a handful of good King of Fighters characters too. There's a lot of fighting game characters that would work well in UDW, and it's fun to do fighting game characters in UDW because you have a move list already, so you can just look at their moves in the game, and oftentimes there'll be things that are nothing like what's under option in WWE. Like the WWE moveset obviously doesn't have the same moves as a lot of fighting games, but there is some overlap, so you can be like, okay, well, they have like this type of kick, or they have like this finisher that looks a little bit like this wrestling move, and you can kind of use that to make their moveset. It's a lot easier than like the Teen Angels or Britney Spears, who like don't have fighting moves because they're not fighters or from video games at all, and you just kind of have to pick stuff that just feels like it suits their personality, I guess, but isn't necessarily going to be like some kind of canon thing. Like, I don't remember what finishing moves the Teen Angels have. I assume at least one of them has like the DDT as a finisher. That was like a really common diva finisher during like the Divas era of WWE. It feels like there was a lot of women with like little to no gimmick who would have a DDT as their finish. I wonder why Lara has this move. Was that on purpose? I don't remember. Like, that's a good move for a handful. I think Marceline and Melina both have that like crawling over the opponent move. I don't know why Lara has it. I wonder if that was a mistake I made. I don't know. It just seems like an odd choice. I don't know why I gave her that move. Because it's like a very distinctive, like the way that they move is very specific. So it feels like only a handful of characters can like really kind of pull it off. Because it's got that kind of creepy vibe where they're crawling over the opponent like that. But I don't know if it really fits Lara, but I guess if I do end up making her in 2K23, I'll make sure to not give her that one. But maybe it would be funnier to give it to her now that I've addressed it here in this video. I don't know, but she's in the enemy corner now, so they're tagging out to Brenda here. Yeah, I don't know who I would pick to win this match, like who I think would be the favorite. Typically you want to say that like the established team are the favorites, but that doesn't actually play into the video game that much. Dee Dee's kind of stuck on the rope there. It's always weird when the rope gets like stuck on the character. But yeah, the Teen Angels are all pretty similar in skill level, I think. Like I said, they're just like normal teens. Just normal people, so they don't have a lot of variance to their attributes. Like I think Dee Dee's got like a little bit more skill. Like I think she counters a little bit better than the other two, just because she's like the kind of the leader of the group, or I see her as like the leader. And then on the other side, Sarah Bryant obviously has a little bit better stats being from a fighting game. Lara Croft too. Neither of them have superpowers, but they are like, they just because of the genres they come from are like a little bit higher powered than a regular person. And then Britney's just a regular lady. But I guess that was enough because Sarah just won there. I didn't realize we were that close to winning the match. It was kind of caught me off guard there. I thought we still had a little bit to go, but no, she got it with that. Was that like a spinning kick that she won with? I was thinking about something else. But yeah, congrats to the oddball team of Lara Croft, Sarah Bryant, and Britney Spears. They picked up the win here over perennial jobbers, the Teen Angels. Popular, but did not win very often, and that didn't really change here. But it was nice seeing them again. It was nice seeing all 6 of these characters again. I like all of them for different reasons, but probably, like I was saying before, probably Laura will be the only one we'll see come back at any point. I really want to make a point of bringing her back into the next roster when I make that. Then everyone else here, maybe not. Maybe we won't see them again, but anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow, I guess, for the next match in our little series here.